Hey, what's going on, guys? Sam here, back again with another video, and in today's video I'm going to be teaching you guys how to change your takeovers on your Myteam card. But just really quick before we hop into the video, I just want to say, if you guys haven't already, please hit that like button. It really does help out my channel and this video. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm. And also, if you haven't already, feel free to sub up. We make multiple videos per week and we live stream every single day here on YouTube, and we're on the grind to 11K. But without further ado, let's dive right into it. So the first thing we're gonna hop on, guys, is the NBA 2K Labs website here. Shout out to them. These guys provide us with so much in-depth information on how the game works that 2K doesn't provide us. So these guys do all the testing and all the data mining to figure out all this information, and they've provided us here all the information on the different boosts and stat increases for every single takeover in the game. As you can see here, if you just look up NBA 2K Lab or go to the website and go to the takeovers, they have every single takeover here. But luckily for you guys, I've already copied all these stats and put them into a nice little spreadsheet here. Call me Spreadsheet Sam or Spreadsheet Man Sam if you want to, but I put every single takeover in a spreadsheet here, and I figured out what takeover gives the most stats boosted, because believe it or not, they don't all just boost your stats by, like, let's say 200. There's actually a best takeover technically, and obviously some takeovers give boosted, I want to say boosted tendencies. They boost the ratings more than others. Like obviously defending is going to boost defense more than sharpshooting, for example. But yeah, as we scroll through here, you can see that each takeover boosts a certain amount of stats, and some way less than others, like 195 here for some, while others boost 225. And I did go ahead and rank them here, and you can see defending is actually the best takeover in the game. It boosts your stats by 225 while you're in takeover, while rebounding, technically rebounding, sharpshooting, and rim protector are all 195. So technically those three are the worst. And to be honest, I put sharpshooter just above everything, because these are all, except for post scoring, all these are guard badges, 1 through 3, while the rest of these are kind of just big man badges. Like I know you can't get rim protector on a 1 through 3 because it's just lockdown, or sorry, it's just defending. So obviously some are restricted to certain positions, but if I actually had to rank these personally, I would probably have sharpshooter at the bottom, because sharpshooting this year, it's pretty much green or nothing. But anyway, I just thought that was interesting, and I thought I'd share that there's actually a best takeover in the game. And if you guys want to go ahead and go look at all the stats again, you can go ahead and go look at NBA 2K Labs. Maybe I'll share the spreadsheet if you guys really want to. It is kind of nice to compare what takeovers boost certain stats. For example, I'm just going to go with speed with ball. It's very interesting that speed with ball is boosted by 10 with playmaking. Okay, that makes sense. But it's very interesting that if we go over to slashing here, you think slashing would boost speed with ball, but it actually boosts it by 0. So there's definitely some odd stats that aren't boosted with certain takeovers, and it is surprising. So I definitely recommend going and looking on NBA 2K Labs if you're looking for a certain takeover to get on a certain player. All right, so now that we've gone through all the takeovers and the boost for all the takeovers, and how there's some takeovers that are technically better than others, at least attribute wise, let's go ahead and dive into how you can get certain takeovers on each players, and how you can go about changing one takeover to another on some cards. I'm not going to say all, because some cards you just can't, but I'd say definitely over half the cards you can change their takeovers. So we're going to go ahead and dive into some examples on how I've changed some of these cards takeovers, and what stats you want to boost over others to get certain takeovers on cards. And then I'll also kind of dive into what coaches you can use, because coaches obviously boost stats, and how that affects the stats and takeovers, and also diamond shoes as well. So we'll go ahead and switch on over to the spreadsheet again. Spreadsheet Man Sam here. We'll go ahead and take a look at the spreadsheet, and I did type out this kind of example. Hopefully it makes sense. I'm not gonna lie, this is like the third time me trying to record this without it getting kind of rambling on, and with it making sense, because I don't want to just have this turn into a ramble fest. I want this to be informative. So we're gonna go ahead and start up here by saying takeovers are determined by the highest attribute categories, and each attribute category, meaning like passing category, the defense category, the rebounding, the shooting, etc. Some categories don't have the same number of stats in them. So for example, rebounding versus defense. Now if that doesn't make sense to you, I'll go ahead and just hop over to a stat chart here of Shaq. Don't ignore Shaq. It's just for an example. For what I'm trying to say here is, you see how rebounding only has 2 stats and defense has like what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's what I mean. And maybe 7 and 8 actually, because all these. So some stats or some categories have literally 2 stats, while others have multiple. So that definitely is something you want to take into account when trying to go for a certain takeover. But anyway, going back here, let's go ahead and dive into the different takeovers and what stats you want to boost to get certain takeovers, which stats you want to get the highest. Because what 2K does is to determine the takeover on the card, they give you the takeover with the highest stat category, or highest, what am I trying to say, category of stats, if that makes sense. So for example, if you had all 99 these stats, or all 99, we'll go back here for example, all 99 here defending, and let's say everything else is 25, obviously you would have defending takeover because it all averages out to 99 and it's just the highest. Now for example, if it was 99, let's just ignore, let's just look at defending and rebounding. Let's say rebounding was 97, 97, let's say, yeah, 97, 97, this all 99, it would still be defending over rebounding, even though rebounding's high. So we kind of got that taken care of. Hopefully that makes sense. But diving back into the different takeovers and the stats you want to boost, this is all from my testing over the last 2 years and just changing takeovers to pretty much great success. I'd say 95% of the time you can actually change the takeover. Sometimes you just can't. That's just how it is. But from my experience, if you want to boost defending, you want to boost perimeter defense, interior defense, pass perception, block, steal, and lateral quickness. Now, whether this is by using a defensive coach, which is usually the case, it's super easy to get defending, or rim protector, they kind of go hand in hand, by just using a defensive coach and then throwing a diamond shoe on top of that. That's probably the best way to get defending a rim protector, by boosting these stats. And obviously, there's not diamond shoes out there where you can, choose the stats you want to boost. You kind of have to pick and choose. You're kind of at 2K's mercy when it comes to the boost you have. So that's why it is kind of nice to go to a diamond shoe guide, which by the way, I think I'll plug that in the description, or in the comments or description below. I can definitely bring that up here. Honestly, I can just bring this up on the screen here. If you go to 2K Gamer, one of my favorite sites, you can go to diamond shoes and it'll bring up a nice little diamond shoe guide. You can see literally thousands of people use it. And if you click on it, it'll bring up a guide with all the boosts and stuff. So that's definitely helpful when trying to do takeovers. I don't know why I didn't think of that. I will put that in the description below or in the comments, either way, because this is super, super helpful when trying to determine stats. But anyway, we're kind of getting off track here. We'll go back. Moving on to slashing. If you want to get slashing takeover, which you saw in the beginning clips of me just dunking on people with Shaq actually didn't have slashing when I first got him. If we go back to his stats here, he has 99 defensive rebounding and 98 offensive. So these would average out to be the highest, and that's exactly what he had. Especially with my coach who boosts offensive, he had glass takeover or rebounding takeover until actually, no, that's a lie. My coach actually doesn't boost offensive, but this was obviously averaging out higher than any other stat. So what I had to do to get slashing was boost these slashing stats, which are actually driving dunk and driving layup, because the standing dunk is already 99. And if we go back to the spreadsheet here, you can see I did this by boosting the driving dunk to 99. The standing dunk was already 99, and then boosting the driving layup to 99 as well. And that's how I switched it from rebounding to slashing. So that's one of the ways you can do it. I was actually surprised. I wouldn't say surprised, but I was glad to change it from rebounding to slashing, because Shaq already grabs boards, and slashing on Shaquille O'Neal, let's be honest, it's just OP. You get more dunk animations. And to be honest, out of all these, with slashing takeover, your player just feels way quicker, even though he doesn't get a boost with the speed with ball. But anyway, moving on now. I'm going to try to be as quick as I can through these and not ramble on like I kind of have been. With playmaking, one example was my campus legend, Magic Johnson. I might or might not bring up the example, but basically, you just want to get the passing accuracy to 99 while having everything else obviously below 99, whether it's the shooting, rebounding, all the other stuff. You want passing accuracy to be the highest, and I put a question mark by ball control. I don't think that has anything to do with playmaking. It might, but from my observation here, we'll just switch over one more time. I know we're kind of getting off track. With Magic Johnson here, you see how he has 99 passing accuracy, and with my coach, he got up to 99. Everything else is below 99, and of course, he has passing IQ, which that doesn't really matter, but that's clearly the highest out of all these, so he's obviously going to have playmaking in the playmaking category. So that's how I got playmaking on Magic. And moving on to shot creating, we'll actually go back here. For shot creating, you want to just have the mid-range stat be the highest. It's literally just one stat from my kind of testing. You just want the mid-range to be the highest stat, and this is actually kind of a rare takeover, because it's hard to have a player have a 99 mid-range and not have a 99.3. An example of that is the All-Star MJ. I remember using him earlier in the year here, and as you can see, even with my coach boosting it to 98, his mid-range was still 99, and he had shot creator takeover. So actually, if we go back here, if you're looking down here a little bit more on priority, I think it would go 2K prioritizes mid-range and then sharp and then slashing. But I'm kind of going all over the place here. Hopefully you guys are sticking with me. If not, I apologize. Let me know in the comments below if I can help you. But moving on to the next one, post takeover here. This one's kind of self-explanatory. You want to boost the post moves, the post hook, the post fadeaway as high as you can. And the example of that is my Evo Kareem. I have post takeover on my Evo Kareem. And the reason being, because if you look here, once he's pink diamond, out of all these stats, his post moves are all the way, they average out the highest out of all these stats, even rebounding. So that's how you get post takeover. And if we go to sharpshooter, this one's probably the most obvious. You just want to have the 3-point shot as the highest stat, or have have 99 3 ball. That's basically how you get sharpshooter takeover. And for those who might not have a 99, or for those who do have a 99, you know that if your card has 99 everything, they get sharpshooter takeover. So that's pretty simple, straight to the point. Sharpshooter takeover, it makes sense. And then rim protector, we already kind of covered with defending. You just want to have your defensive stats as high as possible, and it's pretty easy to do that with just a defensive coach. And I just put block and interior first because maybe that has something to do with it, but it's pretty much, it goes by position. If you're 1 through 3, you can't get rim protector. If you're 4 through 5, you'll get rim protector. So if you're 4 through 5, you'll get rim protector. If you're 1 through 3, you'll get defending. Hopefully that makes sense. And then lastly, rebounding. Again, this one is kind of as obvious as sharpshooting. You just want to have the rebounding stats the highest. And if we go back here just to a shot chart, just to a stat chart, you can see you want this as high as possible. And for this case with Shaq, this is the highest out of all the categories, averaged out at a 98, and he's obviously going to have rebounding takeover. So that is my example, guys, for takeover. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. And I will say this, you do have to mess around with coaches here. I'll go ahead and switch over to PS4. You do have to mess around with coaches and diamond shoes. Make sure to use this diamond shoe guide. It's super duper easy and super helpful when trying to get takeovers on players. I'll try to find the one I used here to get my Shaq to slashing takeover for those who might be trying to do the same thing. It was this one right here. It boosted the driving dunk and driving layup to 99, and the standing layup is already 99, so we got slashing takeover, plus it boosted free throw, which wasn't too bad. But definitely use this guide right here. It's super duper helpful when trying to try to get certain takeovers on players. And I will just switch over here, I guess, to my PlayStation and just mention that you also, with some, to get every single player the takeover you want, you might have to make sacrifices with your coach you use. I know if I want to get lockdown takeover and slashing, if I want to get like slashing on Shaq and I want to get lockdown on Jimmy at the same time, I actually had to downgrade to an Emerald coach because, long story short, if I used any higher of a coach that boosted a 3-ball, it would give Jimmy a sharpshooter takeover. So hopefully, guys, this is kind of making sense, and it's kind of just a trial and error, and you kind of just have to do, it's not really math, but you just kind of have to use your common sense and look at the stats and see if they average out to be the highest to get the takeover you want. And I will say it's kind of it's trial and error and mess around. And I will say, if you guys want to go mess around and see the takeovers you get, I definitely recommend going into Triple Threat Offline, and you just go in there, and when you're on defense, hit L1 if you're on PlayStation, and it'll tell you the takeovers your players have. But guys, this has already been long enough. This is like a 10-minute or 11-minute recording of me talking straight. Hopefully, if you're still watching, I'm not putting you to sleep, but hopefully this is super informative and I can help you guys change takeovers on the players you want and just have fun, because not gonna lie, guys, that Shaquille O'Neal card is super duper fun to use with slashing takeover, and I want you guys to maybe have some more fun in the game by changing takeovers on players and going and dunking on people with slashing takeover. But guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments below if you need any help, and if this did help you out, please hit the like button. It really does help me out, and feel free to sub if you're new. But until next time, guys, peace out.